started ripping Jimbo Fisher. And when anybody lashes out in life, that's why I don't take anything too personally on Twitter. When people lash out, there's three reasons psychologically why anybody lashes out: jealousy, envy, and fear. Now, I don't think Saban's jealous or envious of other coaches, but there's some fear here. Texas A&M kicked his butt in recruiting last year. It was the best recruiting class in the history of college football. They got 7 of the top 34 players. Texas was also top 5. Texas Tech for next year leads the country. Texas is a big boy economy. Alabama is not. Nick is now at a resource disadvantage. That's why he's suddenly chirping about parity, which he doesn't give two you-know-whats about. What he doesn't like is losing dominance. Texas has a lot more money and a lot more resources, and I'm here for it. I miss the Texas Longhorns being great. I've been told forever Texas A&M is going to be great. I'd like to see both. College football is better when Texas is fantastic. Any Texas school. I grew up with the Southwest Conference. Now, they all cheated, but nonetheless, it was fun. I don't think the SEC dominating the sport, I don't think it's going to end the sport. I don't think it's good for it. Ratings, attendance, down into the tubes. People out west don't sit around wanting to watch college football in the South all the time. Texas, we've got a connection to Texas. It's a quick, direct flight. A&M beat Bama last year. Nick knows he's had a oil, energy, money disadvantage. Mario Cristobal is going to cut off some Miami recruiting. Lincoln Riley's already shut the door on some California recruiting. And Texas, good luck stealing the best players from Texas now with Jimbo Fisher, Steve Sarkisian, those facilities, and that oil money. And Nick knows it. He's no dummy. People lash out for 3 reasons: jealousy and envy, he's neither, and fear, he sees it. He's getting up there in age. These coaches are younger. Jimbo just beat him. They just hammered him in recruiting. Nick now came out yesterday and acknowledged he was a little over the top.
I should have never really singled anybody out. That was a mistake, and I really apologize for that part of it. I really wasn't saying that anybody did anything illegal in using name, image, and likeness. I didn't say that. That was something that was assumed by what I said, which is not really what I meant, nor was it what I said. So there's nothing illegal about doing this. It's the system that allows you to do it, and that's the issue that I have.
The same system that allowed Nick to gray shirt kids 10 years ago, which most of the country thought was sleazy, but it was legal too. This is fear talking, and this is what it looks like. When people in power, he now doesn't control the players like he used to. They can transfer. He doesn't have the resources. And Alabama, according to a story, wants to pay all their players about $25,000 a year. That's cute. Quarterbacks now go for $1 million, the great ones. Defensive linemen have been going for $100,000 for years in the SEC. They just paid him through a church. Nick Saban had never lost to one of his assistants. He lost twice last year. Lane Kiffin building a power at Ole Miss, Sark at Texas, Jimbo at A&M, and Kirby Smart's got that puppy rolling at Georgia. Nick's getting older, a little less mobile, not as dominant. Players have power, money coming from different places. That is what fear looks like. Joy with the news. That goes along with stealing the best coach in college football offensively in Lincoln Riley, and they also stole the best quarterback from Oklahoma, Caleb Williams. 3 best transfers so far in the transfer portal have been Lincoln Riley, Jordan Addison, and Caleb Williams, and USC got all 3. I always roll my eyes at college fans. Occasionally, a great program like Kentucky, a great program like Arizona will be down. They'll make a bad hire. You see it in college football all the time. A great program. Notre Dame was down for years. Alabama was a mess. Florida was a toilet for a while. And once they get the right coach, they always rebound quickly. Let me give you 4 examples. Oklahoma with John Blake was a disaster. Bob Stoops got the job. Next year, 7-5. Next year, national champs. Urban Meyer took over for Ron Zook, who ended up at one point working in a bank. Urban Meyer, 9-3 to 13-1, won a national title. Remember what a joke Bama was with Mike Shula? Saban took it over 7-6, then 12-2. Brady Hoke to Jim Harbaugh. We thought Michigan was dead. There were empty seats everywhere. Nobody went to the games. 10-3 overnight. And those 4 coaches didn't have a transfer portal. They didn't have LA money in the NIL. Folks, if you don't get it, those who don't get it, don't get it. USC is going to be really good. Now, because the previous head coach not only couldn't recruit at a high level, he couldn't develop. Most of USC's talent, probably about 90%, is on the offensive side. So they're going to be a really lopsided football team this season. They'll only be able to win one way, outscore you. And because of that, they won't be able to compete with Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. Notre Dame's really good. Ohio State's going to be fantastic. They may win the whole thing. They're not there yet. They need another recruiting class. They need another year of the transfer portal. But folks, this is a huge national brand that just got a quarterback and a receiver from Washington, D.C., just like Pete Carroll did. I roll my eyes at myopic college fans, college basketball and football, when you see these great programs. North Carolina for a while. Do you remember that? Was it Dean Smith? They just couldn't quite get it right. Yeah, now North Carolina is now back at the very top. The big brands in college, I can make an argument. There's only really one college football brand that's been great in the last 20 years that wasn't 25 years ago, and that was like Oregon because of Phil Knight's money and commitment. That's it. He just bought his way in, and I know Phil, and I love Phil, and he wrote a great memoir and all of it. But the teams that were great in the 50s and 60s and 70s, every time USC gets the right coach, John McKay, he wins national titles, goes to the NFL. John Robinson wins national titles, goes to the NFL. Pete Carroll wins national titles, goes to the NFL. Lincoln Riley, couple of boxes to check, both will happen. Now, will they fill the Coliseum tomorrow? No, because when Pete was here, the NFL wasn't in town. LAFC wasn't in town. The Dodgers weren't the best baseball team. The Clippers were a joke. It's a much more distracted market. There's a lot of mouths to feed in sports. And I imagine with this schedule, which includes Rice and Fresno State, there'll still be empty seats. But those that don't get these big Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida, Bama, USC, folks, in 4 months, USC is a completely different roster. Harbaugh, Stoops, Zook, Saban did it without the transfer portal. Yes, I'm from somewhere beyond California. But when you live here, you see it over and over and over. Great people want to live here. They want to challenge themselves. Like all these 20 and 21-year-old kids deciding lots of choices. We want to be back at USC. Oh, that's why I wore yellow today. I feel just the colors flowing. And you know, I'm also rooting for the Texas Longhorns and the Miami Hurricanes. I've told you this before. I have had enough of rural college football powers. Give me the Canes. Give me the Horns. Give me USC. The attendance and ratings have gone into the tank for the last 7 years. We're over small towns dominating. I want the Canes. I want the Trojans. I want the Horns. All you kids out there, consider the big city once in a while. It's a great place to live. All right. Cuttino Mobley stopping by. One of Russell Wilson's teammates is joining us. I don't know. I don't see it. I think Boston, unless Jimmy Butler wears a cape and is Superman, I don't think Miami can win another game in the series. I don't. So far, Butler scored 70 points in the series. The rest of the starters combined, 2 of them undrafted, have scored 74 points. Boston's got better talent, better shot creators, far more elite defenders. And, I mean, at one point, the Celtics went on a 17-0 run in a playoff game on the road. That's hard to do. And the minute the Celtics were healthy and equally rested, I said this in Game 1. Game 1s are tricky in a playoff series. Be careful about making definitive opinions because Miami had 3 more days rest. Miami was healthier. Also, the Celtics came off a very grueling physical series against a big, strong veteran team in Milwaukee. Now they're equally rested. Ran them off the floor. I also think Boston's big three of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart, they're smart guys. They've been in this league now 4 and 5 years. They get it. They have to win this series. Nobody thinks Miami's great. Everybody knows there's a reason. Your FanDuels, there's a reason. Vegas, Boston's going to win this series. Almost everybody picked Boston for a reason, even though Miami was the number 1 seed. Boston's better. They got better players. In 7 of the 8 quarters, Boston's been the better team. And then they had 1 disaster quarter. But it looked like last night, equally rested and healthy. It wasn't that close. Miami does have a chance to win this series, and it's the same chance Dallas has. They got to hit a ton of threes. And the three-point shot is the great equalizer in basketball. Sometimes the best team does not win a game, and sometimes a series. It is the great equalizer. And Miami was a very good three-point shooting team in the regular season. For whatever reasons, they're not